Hello again, beautiful beings of light, and welcome back to another live at 5:55. Having a little bit of issues on Facebook as per usual. I honestly, yeah, I have to end it and start over. Um, so hopefully you guys are all doing really well today. It's been kind of an up and down week. Um, do you guys, are you doing well? Um, Hold on. Today I'm going to be talking about a quantum download. This is something that I have wanted to talk about for a while now. And hello everyone on Facebook. Nice to have you. I'm glad that I am back. All right. Hi everyone. Hello YouTube. Hello Facebook. So today I'm going to be going over a brief summary of how the universe works. And I know for me that this has been one of the most important questions that I've asked myself, that I've asked the universe. And I wanted to bring the answers to this question to all of you today. How does the universe work? What are the dimensions? Why do we incarnate ourselves as a soul? And what can we gain access to from all of that knowledge and quantum information? And I think that's really important for us to be aware of. Let's see. I'm going to also give you a little bit of a personal history on why I think this is really relevant and why I've been struggling with these concepts for a very long time. And I'm going to give you something else to think about of how to understand this universe and essentially this reality at a quantum vibrational level. So first of all, where are you guys from? So we've got Michelle from Scotland. Hello, welcome Michelle. Thank you for joining us. What about anyone else? On Facebook, YouTube, where are you guys from and how has your week been going so far? The only thing that I've felt that's been off or weird about this week is the time. Time has been super weird this week. I thought that it was Thursday when it was Wednesday. I thought that it was Sunday when it was Saturday. I thought that it was Monday when it was like Tuesday. I don't know. It's been weird. And then also, I Ubered with my girlfriend out to a concert, and turns out the concert isn't taking place until like 2 months from now. So it's been kind of a weird week with time. What about you guys? John from Cali, what's going on? We've got Angie from Arizona, Susan from Ohio. Oh, thank you so much, Carrie. We've got Serious Child from Kentucky. Awesome. Okay, Carrie, since Saturday I've been attracting the weirdest energy. Interesting. Walnut Creek, California. Hello, CR. Elk Grove Village, Illinois. Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, Eric from Los Angeles, Canada. Elemental energies, lots of shoulder pain. Yeah, okay. It's been kind of weird. It's been kind of wild. I don't really know what the Schumann resonance is. If someone has that information for today, please go ahead and feel free to comment that information below. Always wanted to know, but I was a little bit caught up today. It's a friend of mine's birthday, and his name is Phil Good. He's got incredible content. I mean, he's one of those next level channelers, spiritual teachers, gurus. I don't know what you want to call him, but he is so next level. And I highly recommend that if you haven't, 67 hertz today, that's crazy. If you haven't already checked out his channel, please do. Phil Good or Phil Good Life. To check out his stuff, because I don't really resonate with a whole lot of spiritual teachers. You really won't you won't hear me mention a lot of names, but Phil Good is definitely one of the good ones. So I did a little session for him on his birthday, which was today, and that was incredible. It was mind-blowing. It was like two spiritual masters getting together for this incredible channeling. So I'm not surprised it's 67 hertz, because I've been feeling that energy. And this past weekend with the full moon has been kind of interesting too. So I think that definitely, I think that definitely helped with the energy and the vibration and those kind of things. So good. Okay. So, before we literally take a quantum leap into this information, and I highly recommend that if you don't already have it out there, please grab a piece of paper and a pen, because this is something that you're going to want to document or write down or even just try and comprehend. Some of you may just want to sit back and think about the information, and that's okay too. So before we get into it, please go ahead and check out my teacher's membership page. All exclusive information. I do a live at 5:55 video every week on the teacher's page that you never get to see because I'm always doing it over there. So that's every Thursday. Then I've got a live Q&A where you get to ask me all the questions you've ever had about everything every Sunday. And once again, this is an exclusive group. It's a membership group just for $11. It's basically like $11 donation every month for extensively exclusive content every single day and every single week. So please go over to my membership page. It's called The Teachers on Facebook, or click the link below that my lovely assistant Lauren will be posting to go ahead and sign up for the monthly subscription. People love it. And we just hit 100 members. So thank you to those beautiful souls who are here to expand, awaken, and advance themselves at a deeper level than I can ever go into in this kind of live video setting. So thank you to all of you. Okay, great. And then also, I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. I'm gearing up for my Cosmic Goddess Mexico retreat that's happening at the end of this month, which is so amazing. And so I'm taking 15 women from all over the world. I think someone's flying in from the Netherlands, which is incredible, to come out and get their mind blown. And I always call it a spiritual boot camp. I am gearing up for another spiritual retreat and awakening, third eye cosmic awakening retreat happening in, I think it's going to be in February, if not in March, okay? Or did we say the end of January? It's going to be around there in Hawaii. Okay, guys? So if you want to get your minds blown, if you want to expand your third eye and connect to your cosmic self, then you want to join me in Hawaii for a 5-day, all-inclusive, really epically expanding retreat. If you're interested in it, I will put your name and contact information on a wait list, and I will give you the information when we have the information, okay? But it's definitely going to be in Hawaii. I really want to do a waterfall hike and a sacred, earth planet connection, because that's where a lot of the chakras are, or the heart chakra at least is in Hawaii. So if you're interested in that, I am opening it up to both males and females, okay? So I want both. I want both genders, and hopefully I have, I would say 7 of each. 7 males and 7 females would be literally ideal. It would be so perfect. So seed planted, keep it in mind. This is a retreat for someone who's ready for the next DNA activation. This isn't how to let go of your fear. This isn't how to transmute the third dimension. This is how to expand yourself once you're already in that high vibrational place. So if you're ready for the next step and you're thinking about maybe taking a vacation, this is beyond that. And I just wanted to say, I'm opening the field up for that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is 2 things, actually. Group sessions. I'm now opening up 2 group sessions every single week, which means that you get to ask 2 of your most pressing questions every single week to your spirit guides, and I will channel those questions live in a group setting with 10 people. This group session, people love it so much that they come back. And not only do they come back, but they usually buy 2 tickets for themselves, which means that they get to ask 4 questions in that group session. Okay, so really keep it in mind. People love it so much. I have it every Tuesday and every Sunday. This Tuesday, I'm off into Laguna Beach for Awakening Code Radio. So if you are in Laguna, or you can tune in to a radio station, I don't know what channel, 90 something, 94.5, I don't know, Awakening Code Radio, check it out. I will be talking about quantum disclosure on Awakening Code Radio tomorrow night, which is going to be really exciting. And I think I'm going to do a special live video for that as well. So I will be live broadcasting from the control room in the radio station, and that's going to be super awesome tomorrow night, and because of that, I have my group session on Wednesday. So I still have spots for Wednesday, okay, at 6 p.m. EST, and I still have spots for this Sunday at 6 p.m. EST. If you have some pressing questions, could be about love, finances, work, it could be about spiritual awakening, your cosmic guides, your past lifetimes, you name it, I will channel it live for you. Usually every Tuesday and Sunday. So please keep that in mind. I love my group sessions and I love all my clients. Okay, and then the last thing is I'm starting to open up things for the school. So I have a School of Awakening, and I have developed, it took me a year, but I developed a Shift Master Class for the School of Awakening. Now this is for people who are stuck. This is for people who you want to move forward, you want to live a happy life, but for whatever reason, you keep getting bogged down by reaction, by trigger, by old trauma, by old emotions, and by attachment. If you're ready to let go, if you're ready to move on, if you're ready to shift, then you want to contact me about this course. I only take 10 students on every single, at any point in time. The course itself is $3,000 and it's over a 4-month period. This is a commitment to yourself and your soul, but once you shift, you will never go back. Okay? And all of my shift students right now are graduating, and man, have they ever changed and shifted their lives for the better. So keep that in mind, and open yourself to the possibilities. Okay? All right, let's get into it. Okay, so my personal history of how does the universe work? Now, when we think about the biggest questions known to humanity, the how does the universe work and the why, right? The why the universe works, I talk about this all the time. Why are we here? What are we doing? Who is humanity? Who am I? I believe we are a quantum cosmic composition of many different species thrown across many different DNA strands. We are a hybrid, right? So that's the why. You know, why are we here? Why are we important? Why us? Why now? Why the awakening? I answer that stuff all the time. Go back into my other videos if you want more of the why the universe works, okay? It's more of a philosophical discussion, okay? Now the how. Let's talk about the how. The how the universe works is more quantifiable. It's more quantum. It's actually more based and rooted in quantum physics, okay? So please keep in mind that when I talk about the how the universe works, it may be a little bit much to comprehend, but I guarantee that within the next 45 minutes, I will give you information that your soul will resonate with to such an extent that it will actually shift you into a new DNA unlock, okay? This information, it's not just a cool story, it's actually meant to shift, unlock, and awaken your DNA at the deepest of levels. So hang in there, because we're about to go for a ride. All right. So, for me, this has been a long journey to get here. I mean, I am only 27, but I've always really been questioning things, even as a kid. My first big awakening happened at the age of 16 when I got my first ever past life regression. I started opening up at the age of 16. Of course, I was open before then, but I started opening up at the age of 16 to the, wow, you know, past life regression, reincarnation exists, check. Simultaneous time exists, check. And when I talk about simultaneous time existing, which is a quantum concept of the how in which the universe works, the understanding is that time doesn't exist in the linear fashion that we perceive it here in the third dimension. Time actually doesn't exist in the linear fashion beyond the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is time itself. So when we think about the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th dimensions, time, yes, it does exist. It is a concept still, and it's still a concept and a form of measurement, but time doesn't exist in the linear fashion of the past, the present, and the future. It just doesn't exist. It is quantum. Once we get into the fifth dimension and beyond, we get into the quantum realms. We get into the simultaneousness of the universe, right? Everything is happening now. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so the past life regression really opened me up to the possibilities within this reality. When you start to experience past lifetimes in the present moment as your current self, you start to realize that there are no real limitations within this realm. There are only perceived limitations. And I want you all to either just think about that for a minute or write that concept down. There are only perceived limitations, not real limitations. Even the two biggest limitations that you could possibly conceive, such as life and death, or light and dark, or time and space, they don't actually exist. They don't. We perceive them as existing when essentially they're simultaneous. And when you think about both space and time, or light and dark, or life and death as simultaneous, as I am currently living here, I am currently not existing here, right? When you think about the paradox of these realities and the truths within the fact of superposition, I'm here now, but I'm not here now. Schrodinger's cat. The cat is currently living and currently dead only because we are not observing the cat, right? That's a paradox, but technically that is the truth. So the quantum field means that everything is happening in superposition. Everything is happening simultaneously. It's the quantum reality, not the linear reality. We are getting away from the third dimension. We are surpassing, ascending beyond the third. We're moving into the fifth dimension, which means that we're moving into a quantum state of being. Everything is simultaneous. I simultaneously chose to cut my hair, and simultaneously, in another parallel reality, chose to not cut my hair. And in this moment, when we think about the fifth dimension and the quantum realm, they're both existing simultaneously. There is one parallel reality where you chose to show up for this video, and there's another parallel reality where you forgot about the video, or maybe you just never showed up, or maybe you were late, or maybe you just didn't even have me in your life at all. We need to understand that in this fifth dimension frequency, in this quantum realm, everything is existing all at the same time within the realm of infinite fields of possibilities. It is only through our observation where we end up choosing one state of being or another. Nothing else other than that. That is what it is in the moment. Okay, good. So another experience that I had to really start tapping into the quantum realm and the quantum field is I was 18. I went downtown Toronto, and I was like, literally, Toronto has all these skyscrapers to such an extent where you can't even see the sky most of the time, kind of like downtown New York. You know, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous and very suffocating in a lot of ways. Regardless, I was walking down the street, and there's these giant, 80 floor, 90 floor, 100 floor skyscrapers all aligning me. And I'm looking up at these skyscrapers, and all of a sudden I start to see these giant buildings waving at me. They were literally, I saw them in a wave formation. And I'm like, wait a second, isn't that a solid building? And of course I was all alone, so I didn't have anyone to stop someone on the street and say, yo, is that building moving for you too? I never said that, but I started to realize that I was visually connecting to the quantum field within this physical reality to such an extent that I was seeing very solid, very physical third dimensional objects, such as an 80-floor skyscraper, in wave form. I started to understand that everything around us is not solid at all. I started to not just understand this from a contextual level or from a knowledge-based level through reading a book on quantum physics. I started to experience the quantum world, not just know about it. And that's how I've received my information on how the universe works, is through experience. And yes, of course I waved back. This is my wave. Thank you so much, building, for showing me and teaching me about the quantum world. And then in 2016, of course, I was greeted by the Galactic Federation, and they told me all about the collapsing of the reality back in 2012 and us hopping into other parallel realities, such as the Mandela Effect, okay? So my whole life, I've been really open to the quantum world and not just the linear one. The linear world has never made sense to me. And this is actually going to get us into the concept of vibration. Every single thing in your entire life is a vibration. Colors, vibration. Sacred geometry, vibration. Words, vibration. Those are things that are easy to conceptualize as a vibration. But let's take it a step further. Emotions, vibration. Attachment, vibration. Reaction, vibration. This necklace, vibration. Crystals, a vibration. The intention of doing something, a vibration. Let me repeat that. The intention of doing something is a vibration. How untangible, how non-linear, how non-third dimensional is it when I say that an intention to do something is a vibration? So when we think about the intention to commit a crime, it depends on what crime it is, right? Because sometimes our criminal system is a little skewed. Let's say the intention to commit a murder, okay? That's a pretty low vibrational frequency. So you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything yet. And yet the intention itself is enough to propel you or project you into one realm, one frequency, one direction or another. How untangible, how convoluted, how abstract of a thought is it to think that an intention to do something without doing it at all is a vibration? We need to realize and understand that the physical world, okay, this right here, all of this, all of these things, okay, this physical world exists because we intended it, because we created it with our vibration. Now, you've probably heard this before because you're in the realm, and I don't know what the saying goes. It's something similar like, we're simply a non-physical being. We're simply a soul experiencing a body rather than a body experiencing a soul. You've probably heard this before. It really does ring true. It is what it is, right? We are a soul experiencing a body, not the other way around. We aren't a physical body experiencing a soul. The soul comes first. The quantum aspect of our vibration comes first. The vibrational frequency comes first. Then and only then are we greeted by the physical world. Okay, it's really important. Now, the most important thing about understanding the how of how the universe works is we have to align the metric system of what we're talking about. Okay, so say for example, I have a thought of doing something. Say for example, my thought of doing something is having my own TV show. Okay, so I want my own TV show. Great, it's a thought. Oh, thank you so much, Sharma, for this beautiful super chat. Super appreciated as always. So you have a thought. Say, for example, my thought is to have my own TV show. Yeah, that's a tangible thought. I really do want that. Okay, so the thought is I want my own TV show. And another thought could be like, I want more financial abundance, right? Or whatever. Okay, cool. So that's the thought. So when you think about, okay, when you conceptualize your intentions being your thoughts versus the physical world, there is a huge gap between your thoughts and the physical manifestation of those thoughts. The problem, why manifestation doesn't work most of the time, is that the metrics are different. We're literally talking about apples and oranges. Your thoughts are a vibration. The physical world is a vibration, but it's a very dense vibration. Say, for example, your thoughts are at 122 hertz. The physical third dimension is at 7 hertz, okay, or whatever. I don't know what it is, really. But you're at a different metric system. Your thoughts are energy. The physical world is material. It's particles. Okay, it's a different metric system. If you're like, I really want my own TV show, but you're not doing anything in the physical world to translate your thoughts, there's always going to be a polarization. There's always going to be a hit and miss. Literally, you are going to be wanting an orange, and asking for an apple, right? You have to realign the metric system. So we need to realize that our thoughts in the physical world are in different places. They are literally in different dimensions. One is vibration, one is particles, okay? We have to realign. And that's why writing down what you want is actually converting the metric system. You want a TV show, great. Your thought is just a thought and it's floating out there in the fifth dimensional ethers. You're never going to be able to bring that thought into reality or manifest it if you're always just thinking about it. You're in this vibration and then you get frustrated that it doesn't align to this vibration, okay? Hey! Hey, you! Come here! Come here. She likes to protect me. I know, you get that, bad mailman. Hey. Hey. No. 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 If you guys want to see what she looks like, she popped up in my little Tai Chi video on Saturday. She was there. So I find that dogs especially, or like really loud sounds or disruptions, they shift the energy. They actually help to clear the energy a lot of the time. So when I go to my Mexico retreat, I have a tambourine. It's a very sharp sound, but it actually helps to break up the energy. Sound, here we go, bringing it in. Sound is a vibration, and sound actually helps to switch a vibrational frequency and a flow, okay? Check out my Tai Chi video that I just released a couple days ago, and she popped in right at the end. She's so cute. Okay, so what was I going to say? The metric system. So you have a thought. That's great. You want to manifest something. But how do you bring that thought and translate it into the physical world? The easiest way to translate a thought into the physical reality or physical realm is to write that thought down. Okay. It sounds really silly and also really simple, but I'll explain why the process of writing is so important. So, I want a TV show. How do you translate that? Oh, thank you so much. Alien feline. Ooh, love that. Thank you for the super chat. Super appreciated as always. So you want to change, you want to manifest something, you want to understand how the universe works, and you want to translate a thought into reality. A thought into this vibration, into the physical. So you have the thought. My thought would be, I want a TV show. Okay, cool. So you have the thought, that's great. And then I write down what I want, right? Instead of saying, I want a TV show somewhere in the future, you say, I already have the most ideal TV show possible, right? And I do. Actually, I have a great idea for one. Anyway, and so when you say that, when you write it down, what are you doing? You're taking something that's untangible. You're taking something that's a thought. You're translating the metrics of that thought, and you're creating it. You're manifesting it into the physical. No, it's not the thing itself, but by writing it down, you are translating it from the thought into the physical reality through writing it. A thought is untangible. Even when you speak it out to someone else, it's great, it's awesome, but it's still untangible. When you take the thought, you take the idea, you translate it into language, and you write that language down onto a piece of paper, you are actually instantly manifesting the thought. You're converting, you're translating the thought in another realm into the physical realm by physically writing the thought down on a piece of paper with a pen. That's a physical translation of something that is very non-physical. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? We have to translate the vibration. You know, we can't say, like, say for example, this is like a glass of water, right? And you're like, okay, great. So the water has a certain vibrational frequency. And then you're like, I want to turn this water into wine. I truly believe that it's possible to do that. I truly believe that we can change the metric system. I call it that. We can change the measurement system of this very reality so that we can create and recreate anything with our intention. Okay? But you need the translation. So the first thing is, what do you want? You have to know what you want in order to manifest something or work with the quantum universe. So I want this water to be wine, right? Then there has to be a translation from the molecules, the particles from the water into wine, right? And you actually put in a certain vibrational frequency to translate that. So if I were to if you really think about it, right? It's like a thought experiment. If you were to think about the vibration of water, now let's just say it's like some complicated equation. The vibration of water is like Q squared over 4. Let's just say that's the vibration of water, Q squared over 4, okay, or whatever, right? Then the vibration or the frequency of wine is R squared over 5. Cool. Once you understand the metrics, once you understand the consistency, once you understand what the atomic particles consist of from one to the other, you can translate that. Once you understand that what blue, the color blue, consists of, you can change that blue into a green. You can change that green into a purple. You have to understand both sides of the metrics in order to translate them, in order to work with this quantum universe rather than against it, right? We're trying to create our thoughts into reality, but we're not realizing that we're literally working with apples and oranges. We have to translate the quantum universe in order to level ourselves up and to work with the universe, not against it. Okay, good. So calibrate the metrics, translate the thoughts into reality. Instead of waiting and waiting and waiting for the thing to manifest into your life because you've said it in your head enough, take the next step, which is translate the thoughts into reality by writing it down. That is the easiest way. That's a quantum leap. I'll tell you right now, that is a quantum leap. You're taking something that is energetic and untangible, and you're literally transforming it into something that is tangible and physical. It's incredible. Okay, cool. So that's the purpose of why do we have to write things down when we want to manifest? That's why. Okay, so I want to give you an overview of the dimensions. This is going to be a little quick overview. Okay, so good question here on YouTube. Can you write it down on a computer? And I want to say, no, absolutely not. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend that you type it out or you write it on a computer, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but also kind of funny. The computer is another dimension in and of itself. Think about it. So the computer, you have the hard drive of the computer, but all of the files and everything inside the computer is not physical. The computer is a quantum world. The computer does not exist within space or time. Right now, someone's watching this from Australia, and it's the next day for them. I am reaching you in all the countries that you're watching me in from all over the world because I get to utilize something called the internet through my computer. Time no longer exists because we're working within the quantum world, and I believe that computers and the internet help us get into the quantum world. It doesn't exist anymore. Same thing with space, right? Space no longer exists on the computer. Instead of sending you a letter to give you a message through snail mail, I can give you a message right now because there is no distance between us. There is no space between us. Time and space doesn't exist on the computer. That's why I don't recommend, if you want to manifest a thought into the physical world, you don't want to use the quantum world such as a computer. You're going to continue to get it lost in the ethers, right? So anyway. Okay, cool. Let's go over the dimensions and why we choose to incarnate ourselves within the dimensions. Okay. If we're talking about how the universe works in a linear fashion, okay, how the universe works in a linear fashion, I'm going to just translate that. I know that this isn't encompassing everything, but it's encompassing enough. So from what I've channeled, that's it. I haven't read this. I've channeled this. From what I've channeled, there are 12 dimensions within this universe, although I've also channeled and seen and experienced and astral traveled to many different multiverses. There are many different universes out there. There's actually an infinite amount of universes out there. So we are not the only ones. We're not the only ones on this planet. We're not the only ones in the universe, and we're not the only universe out there in existence. That's it. Deal with it. You know, if you can't deal with that, then you should probably leave right now. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I believe I've channeled that there are 12 dimensions within this universe. Each dimension has a different vibrational frequency. think about every dimension as a radio station. Sometimes you can have a radio station, let's say it the third dimension radio station, and then you've got a fourth dimension radio station. Every once in a while, when those radio stations are close enough, they can overlap, and you're going to get static from one radio station to the other. They're going to overlap. But mostly, every dimension is contained within itself. Every dimension has different interdimensional beings. I believe that we're also interdimensional because we're in the third dimension. That is an interdimensional species. So every dimension has its own species, and every species within that dimension exists within the container or the confines of the limitations of that dimension. So say, for example, if I told each and every one of you that the internet or a computer or a supercomputer was its own dimension, it was its own radio frequency, okay? If I were to say that, then there are beings that are created, such as AI, artificial intelligence, that are created, that are contained within the limitations of that dimension. We are here in the third physical dimension, which means our bodies are contained within the limitations of the third dimension. So every dimension has its own subset of limitations. The lower the dimensions you are in, the more limitations, the more confines, and the more restraints that dimension has. The higher the dimensions you get to, the easier it is to have no limitations whatsoever. So say, for example, if you're in the first dimension, you can't see into the second dimension because you are limited to the first dimension. If you're in the second dimension, you can look back and observe the first dimension because you have two dimensions to you. So you can witness and observe both of those dimensions contained within one space, which is the second dimension. Within the third dimension, we can observe one-dimensional objects and two-dimensional objects because we are here in the third dimension. It's extremely difficult for us, but not impossible, for us to perceive what the fourth dimension would be like, what the fifth dimension would be like, and beyond, right? It's extremely difficult because we are here contained within three dimensions. We're not even going to get to the fact that we aren't just third-dimensional beings because I've said that before, but I won't bring that in because it's a whole other conversation. Okay. So if you're in the fourth dimension, likewise, you can observe and witness all four dimensions in all of their states because the fourth dimension contains all of the four dimensions, first, second, third, and fourth, of course. Okay, so if you're in the 10th dimension, the 10th dimension contains all of the previous dimensions, including the 10th dimension, in a simulation, in a quantum state of being, okay, in a superposition, in everything all at the same time. In the fifth dimension, we can observe the third dimension and the fourth dimension in a quantum way, which means that everything is happening, both space and time, simultaneously in a quantum way, not in a linear way, okay? So this is kind of how the dimensions work. Every dimension has a different vibration, and as you move up through the dimensions, things get a lot more complex, but simultaneously a lot more clear. I find that within the 8th dimension to the 12th dimension, those beings, those interdimensional beings, can either be physical, like us, or they can be non-physical. So there's a lot of, like, even if you look at Anunnaki beings who are in the 10th dimension, they are in between the physical state and the non-physical state. They are a quantum being existing as energy rather than physical. After the 8th dimension, it's kind of unnecessary to have a physical body, although you're still contained within one dimension, if that kind of makes sense. I know it's kind of difficult to comprehend. Okay, so I always thought of the dimensions as within every dimension, we have a body within that dimension, right? We incarnate ourselves within that dimension. And I truly believe, through past life regressions and other things that I've done and experienced, I believe that every being contained within every dimension has a subset of lessons that they need to learn, grow, and move forward, okay? So, say for example, taking a human lifetime, a human incarnation. So you are a human being right now on this planet. I believe that there are, say for example, I'll throw a number out there, 200 human lessons to learn. So the lesson of grief and grieving, the lesson of attachment, the lesson of emotions, the lesson of the material world, the lesson of the spiritual, the lesson of, aliens, whatever those lessons may be, okay? So say, for example, there are 200 lessons that every human needs to learn. You're not going to learn all 200 lessons in just one lifetime. Maybe you need 200 lifetimes to learn those 200 lessons. Maybe you need 2,000 lifetimes to learn those 200 lessons, okay? We repeat lessons all the time if we don't learn them in that lifetime, right? It's called karma. It comes back if we haven't completed it, okay? Now, karma is not an understanding contained only to one dimension. Karma is not an understanding contained to only the human experience or this planet Earth, right? We learn lessons in every single dimension, and if we have not completed the lesson that we're learning in the 10th dimension, we're going to come back to learn the lesson again in another incarnated body in the 10th dimension. So maybe you're a female in this lifetime as a human, maybe you're a tree in the next lifetime, and as a tree incarnated in the 3rd dimension, you're better off learning the lesson that you tried to learn as a human. Of course, the more complex the being, or the more complex the incarnation, the easier it is, and sometimes the more difficult it is, to learn more complex lessons, okay? So we need to realize that just because it's an 8th dimensional Palladian doesn't mean they've learned all the lessons. They are still incarnated into a physical body, which means that they are still learning lessons that physical or non-physical dimension has to give them. Every time you are incarnated into a body, a Palladian body, an Arcturian, a Syrian, a human, a dog, a cat, a flea, an ant, every time you choose to incarnate into a body, there is a number of lessons that you need to learn. Such is the structure of the universe. Such is the how of the universe. How does the universe function? How does the universe work? This is exactly how the universe functions and works. This is why we chose to incarnate ourselves from Source. That's why Source decided to incarnate itself into these individual experiences, because Source got bored. Really, truly. When you have all knowledge, all resources, all connection, all everything, life gets boring. Life gets complacent. So Source decided to incarnate itself into a polarization, into a binary experience, so that Source can have challenge, so that Source can have resistance, so that Source can have movement and growth. And there was a structure that was created. And the structure that was created is the structure of the 12 dimensions and all of the infinite, limitless beings that can be contained within each of those dimensions. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, I used to think years ago, when I was younger, okay, great. So, it's so funny, you're going to laugh at this. Okay, great. So, there's 12 dimensions. We're in the 3rd dimension now. We're learning all these lessons in the 3rd dimension. Then after the 3rd dimension, we become 4th dimension beings. Then we learn all the lessons through many different incarnations in the 4th dimension in order to move on to the 5th dimension. Great. Now we're in the 5th dimension. We're in many different incarnated beings in the 5th dimension. We get to learn all the lessons of the 5th dimension. And then what? We're moving on to the 6th dimension, 7th dimension, 8th dimension, 9th dimension, 10th dimension. I was perceiving the quantum experiment of Source energy in a linear way. I was understanding that if we're in the 3rd dimension, we go to the 4th, then the 5th, then the 6th, then on and on and on to the 12th, and then we reach enlightenment. It doesn't work that way. All of a sudden, I started channeling intergalactic lifetimes of my clients, and all of a sudden, in their very last lifetime, they were an 11th dimensional angel? What? How is that possible? And my mind continued to get blown time and time again in understanding that even though it would be really nice and neat to understand how the universe works in a very linear way, because that's how our linear, physical, human brains can perceive it and understand it in an appropriate method, it's not always how it works. We're trying to understand a quantum universe in a linear fashion. And it doesn't work that way, right? We can be human, a 3rd dimensional being in one lifetime, And then it doesn't usually happen like this, but then in the next lifetime, we could be a 10th dimensional Anunnaki being learning a different kind of lesson in a different dimension. Okay, cool. Now, if you really want to get crazy, we can be a 12th dimensional being simultaneously existing as a 3rd dimensional human. And that 12th dimensional version of ourselves can come into this 3rd dimensional state and influence its past self in the 3rd dimension. I mean, that's how quantum it really gets. We got to get away from this consideration of space and time. We are moving beyond that. And we have to stop limiting ourselves in every moment. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Oh my goodness. So many things. Okay, good. One last thing that I want to mention, because time is running out. 2 things that I want to mention. Okay, yes, good. Okay. There is no destination. I could technically say that the destination of existence, the purpose of life, the biggest question that we all want to know, what is the meaning? Why are we here? What is the purpose? I could very easily say the purpose is to enlighten yourself, to get back to source energy so that you are no longer suffering within the push and pull constraints of a limited linear reality, right? I mean, once you go through all the lessons in every single dimension and you've lived all of the lifetimes, then you go back to source. That's the end destination. That's the point. But if we began as source, then why would the point of existence be going back to source? We were already there. We already had everything. Why would we want to go back? Source, we as source made a conscious decision to go back to nothingness so that we could experience this right now. There is no destination to life. There is no one purpose to pinpoint ourselves into. We have to get away from the goal. There is no goal. There is only just the experience of the present moment. We chose to be here right now to be here right now. Why are you working so hard? So that you can accumulate a bunch of money so that you can get old and not travel or do anything with the money because all you've done your entire life is to accumulate it? Why are we continuing to get ourselves stuck in this paradigm of having a goal and needing to get somewhere or accomplish something when the whole point of existence is to literally, guys, literally just be? Be here right now with no goal whatsoever, and to fully be in surrender of the flow of the life that we chose to have. There is no goal, and if anything, you're accomplishing the goal of existence right now by being here right now in existence. Do you see the paradox that we get ourselves into? Do you see how complicated we actually make life? And it doesn't need to be complex or complicated or convoluted at all. Do you see how we kind of screw that up for ourselves? We got to get away from that goal, okay? All right, good. One last thing. This is a huge breakthrough that I had. I could probably talk about this for hours, but I want to just drop the seed. I just want to plant the information. And before I do, I want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Thank you for following on Facebook. Thank you for showing up for yourselves. Thank you for being here in my space. Thank you for listening to this information. Thank you for being open and receptive. Thank you for being in a place where all of your needs are met and you're able to awaken and ascend. And essentially, thank you for being here for the collective consciousness. You chose to be here, and I appreciate your presence. And it's not too often where we can appreciate one another as teachers. I see each and every one of you as a teacher, not as a student, not as a follower, not as someone separate than me. I see you as just as powerful as I am. I see myself as only ever validating the information that you already know to be true. None of what I'm saying is new to you. This is just a validation of what your soul even knows. Even if you're a troll, and I'm talking to you, to YouTube, if you're a troll and you're here and all you want to do is distract people away from the information that I have to give, I want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us all to see the polarization within society, within humanity. I appreciate your presence just as much as I appreciate everyone else's presence, because you're still here. You're still showing up for me, for everyone else, and for yourself. Your soul is getting activated even through your ego resistance. So thank you. All right. Last point of information that I'm going to get into my couple of announcements, and then I'm going to pull a name for a winner for a draw. Okay, so there are only 2 roads to enlightenment. So if we really do want to say, okay, there is a point, there is a purpose, if you really want to be linear about it, right? Enlightenment, right? Ascension away from the physical experience. Even though this physical experience is pretty rad. It's pretty awesome. We get to eat food. We get to have sex. We get to feel things in our body. Source doesn't get to do that. That's why Source decided to be here, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right. But if we are thinking about enlightenment, there's only ever 2 roads to enlightenment. And I learned this, I channeled this a long time ago. There's only ever 2 roads to enlightenment. There's only 2 paths that you could potentially ever take to enlightenment. Path number 1 is through knowledge. Okay, how does the universe work? Why are we here? What's going on? Give me all the information. Give me all the insight. Cool. Knowledge. If you learn enough, if you comprehend enough, if you consume enough, if you take on enough tools in your little, Akashic records, okay, and you have all that knowledge, you can ascend, you can move forward, you can grow, you can expand, you can enlighten yourself. That's great. The other path to enlightenment is love. The other path to enlightenment is love. It's the feeling. It's the connection. Ooh, this feels great. Let's go over here. Just because it feels great doesn't mean it's right. In the path of knowledge and attaining knowledge to enlightenment, okay, well, what do I need to do? What's the problem? How do I solve it? The path of love is, how do I feel? Where am I at? Where do I need to be? How am I connecting? How am I disconnecting? So the path of love is like this. You're following, you're going with the wind, you're following your intuition, you're all over the place. That's great, right? The path of knowledge is like this. I'm going to be efficient, I'm going to be effective, I'm going to get there, I'm going to do all the right things, and I'm going to make sure I don't make any of the mistakes. Cool, great. But the path of knowledge, once you get there, once you get really close to enlightenment, you got to learn the sacrifice and the surrendering of love. Regardless if you take the path of knowledge or you take the path of love to enlightenment, either way, you're going to have to learn both along the way. It doesn't matter. There is no faster or better or worse. There is just now. There is just here. Okay? Awesome. And of course, if we think about knowledge and love, we can think about masculine and feminine energies. Regardless of gender, everyone has a more dominant vibration that they resonate with. I resonate with more of a masculine vibration. And ultimately, you could probably feel which one you resonate with regardless of gender. And that's okay, right? Super cool. Okay, so once again, guys, please join my teacher's membership page. It's just $11 a month. Completely exclusive content. This is great, but I go deeper than ever before in my teacher's membership page. So please click the link below, sign up, subscribe. It's basically like the Elizabeth April Netflix every single month. So if you really want weekly homework, weekly Q&A where you get to ask all of the questions that you've ever had for the universe, this is the page to do it. I mean, this is the place to do it, and I will channel your answers live, okay? So if you're interested in exclusive content, in daily, weekly homework, in daily, videos and those kind of things, please check out the teacher's membership page. Also, I am doing a, a double-gendered retreat to Hawaii. We're going to chill with the waterfall and the vibration, and we're going to open our third eye, and we're going to connect to our cosmic soul family. And that's going to be probably the end of January. So if you're interested in coming to one of these retreats, especially in Hawaii, please keep it in mind. It is literally going to be revolutionary, mind-expanding, and DNA unlocking. So please email me if you're interested in that retreat. Likewise, my School of Awakening, I am finally taking on new students for my Shift Masterclass. It is designed, it took me a year to design it. It is literally designed to shift you from a third dimension fear-based frequency into a fifth dimension love-based frequency. So if you are open to becoming a Shift Masterclass student, I have a test or a quiz that I give each and every one of you to see if you are aligned to the course material. So I don't just let anyone in. It's a very select number of people, and I only work with 10 students at a time. And all of my students who have taken it have really shifted. So please email me, expand@elizabethapril.com, if you are interested in either the new retreat that is happening in January. Talk about January 2020. Like, this is going to be the most epic time. Like, it's going to be revolutionary, mind-blowing. Okay, so Hawaii retreat and School of Awakening. Oh, thank you so much, Chrissy Lynn. I will see you at my retreat. So keep those in mind. Please email me. Last but not least, let's choose a winner for this week's draw. So these are all the names of people who have reviewed me either on Google and Facebook. I added a bunch of new reviews, so thank you all for reviewing me on Facebook and Google this week. Your names are now in here. There's over 400 names in here, so thank you, all 400 of you, for giving me amazing, incredible 5-star reviews. Super appreciate it. Let's choose 2 winners for today for some free webinars on unlocking your DNA or opening your third eye and your psychic abilities, on manifesting, and on breaking through the matrix realities. Let's see who is our lucky manifestation winner today. This one feels really good. And then one more. This one right here. Yes. Okay, great. 2 white ones today. Very cool. All right, so our first winner is... Awesome! We've got a male. Kent Stevens. Congratulations, Kent Stevens. Awesome. Please, Kent, or anyone who knows Kent, okay, please email me. It's really tough to sift through 400 reviews to find you. So please email me because for whatever reason, Facebook won't allow me to search the reviews. Okay. And, ooh, awesome. Our second winner, Deborah Fielder. Congratulations, Deborah Fielder. Awesome. Congratulations, both Kent and Deborah. I will be back next week at 5:55. I will be on the membership page this week on Thursday at 5:55 for another epic and mind-blowing live video. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Do something for yourself this week. I love each and every one of you. Keep up the good work because you're here. It's the 5th dimension. You are in alignment for your own awakening, and this is an epic time to be alive.